Chair of the Londonderry Elder Affairs Committee, and tonight's educational program is part of a series that we've been doing over the past couple of years, hoping to help seniors in our community. Tonight's workshop is to introduce the Veteran Community Partnership and provide an overview of the program and services available through the VA for veterans and their families. Our keynote here is Bonnie Roberts, and Bonnie, in addition to being a member of the Elder Affairs Committee, owns Home Helpers, which is a non-medical home care agency based in Londonderry. And she's also co-owner of Care Coaching New England, which is a consultant for the working family caregivers. She started Home Helpers in January '09, and along with her business partner launched Care Coaching New England earlier this year. Previously, Bonnie was the business and safety manager of A&M Construction and a police officer in Salem, New Hampshire. She retired from the U.S. Naval Reserve in May '04 as a Yeoman Chief Petty Officer following 22 years of combined active and reserve naval service. Bonnie's very community-oriented. Sad to say, her husband calls her a serial volunteer.
Oh.
So she is, among other things, community co-chair of the Veterans Community Partnership at the VA Medical Center in Manchester. She's been the event chair for the Relay for Life for Greater Derry and Londonderry. She's a board member of the Greater Derry Chamber of Commerce, and she's also a committee member of the Readmissions Reduction Task Force at Parkland Medical Center. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I love the opportunity to help inform and educate our veterans and their families about what is available. And that was really one of the things that drew me to the Veteran Community Partnership once I found out that it existed. We are actually we're very proud in New Hampshire because we were one of the 3 pilot programs for this program. So our vision at the Veteran Community Partnership is that all veterans and their caregivers will have access to and choices among the services that allow our veterans to stay in the place they call home. And then our mission is to foster veterans' seamless access to and transition among the full continuum of services that of non-institutional extended care and support systems in the Veterans Administration and in the community. That sounds like a lot of, for those who do have military service, isn't that just so mission statement oriented? It's like, huh? But anyway, bottom line is our mission is to inform and educate veterans and their families of what's available. Because there is a lot available at the VA up in Manchester, and there's a lot available in the community. And the Veteran Community Partnership was born out of a recognition that there are some veterans that aren't eligible for care at the VA, and even some of those veterans that are eligible for care at the VA instead choose to access care in the community. So we are there to provide a seamless transition to let people know what is available and how to access it. So one of the first things that, the Veteran Community Partnership, there's a number of agencies that make up our partnership. From the VA, we have representatives obviously from the VA, and how ironic, the veteran co-chair is, she's a social worker up at the VA Medical Center, and she doesn't have military service. I'm the community co-chair, and I am the veteran. so technically, logically, I should be the veteran co-chair, and she should be the community. But anyway, so that's it. But some of the agencies that are represented on the VCP, and those of you in the military know we have to have an acronym. That's what we live for, is those acronyms. So it's the VCP, okay? And so some of the agencies that make up, besides the VA, are agencies such as Easter Seals, the Brain Injury Association, the National Association of Mental Health, NAMI, it's called NAMI, the mental health folks. We have different, couple of different area agencies on aging, Service Link, so there's just a bunch of people that do, that come together as the BCP. And we meet as the broader steering committee once a quarter, and then in between that time we break off into 4 different subcommittees or sub-advisory groups, and those are the Access to Care Advisory Group, the Mental Health, the Caregiver Support, and Housing, because those are some of the main issues that veterans do deal with in New Hampshire. Now, some of the broader, really hard ones, transportation, we realize that it's just a problem for everybody in New Hampshire, and there's no way that we can, as the VCP, address that issue. There's other organizations that are working hard to try to address that issue. So we realize that's a part of each one of these subcommittees. So that's why we don't have a specific one for transportation. Okay? I'm the committee chair for the Access to Care. And one of the main things that we found, one of the biggest problems in Access to Care for veterans is that so many veterans do not self-identify as veterans. Okay? And so we came up with this worksheet, and I completely forgot to bring some tonight, but one of the first questions is, did you ever serve in the military? Because so many people think, oh, I'm not a veteran because I didn't retire, or I didn't serve in wartime, or I didn't serve a certain, period of time. But you still may be eligible for certain benefits, okay? So that's a little overview of the Veteran Community Partnership. And one of the other things besides self-identifying is that so many people just lump everything into the VA, okay? And a lot of people don't realize that the broader Veterans Administration is actually made up of 3 separate and distinct agencies. Okay? The Veterans Health Administration is the medical side. Okay, they're the ones like the VA Medical Center. That's where Carrie works, and I'm going to be introduced. This is come on over here, Carrie. This is Carrie Wiggins, right? Carrie Wiggins, and she works up at the VA, and she's going to works in enrollment.
The Health Benefits Advisor.
Health Benefits Advisor. So now that's the Veterans Health Administration. Then there's the Veterans Benefits Administration. Now those are the money people. So if you have a question about, pension or, money or that type of thing, survivor benefits, that type of thing, that's who you're going to ask the question of, is the Veterans Benefits Administration. Their regional office is right up on Chestnut Street in Manchester, okay, in the Norris Cotton Federal Building. Kind of catty corner across from the Verizon Center, behind it, right across from the Hillsborough County Courthouse that they just redid, behind Veterans Memorial Park. And then the third agency that makes up the VA is the National Cemetery Agency, and they're the ones that deal with the burial benefits and that type of thing. So those are the 3 agencies. The VHA, the VBA, and then the National Cemetery Organization. And I do have some information on where to access each one of those here in the state of New Hampshire. Okay, so we have some handouts over here. So I had a great thought right there, and it went straight out of my head. Did you catch the breeze on that? Oh my goodness gracious, and it was brilliant too. It was brilliant, and I completely spaced on it. Oh, we'll catch that train again when it comes back around. But at any rate, I will turn it over to Carrie for a minute and let her give you a little bit of background on her. This poor thing, she was kind of, she's our,
I just got thrown in this at the last minute. Not prepared, but I will go with the flow. So.
That's right, that's what we do, and that's what, you know, we're very happy to have you. So if you could just give us a brief introduction of...
I am Carrie. I work at the VA Medical Center. I am also an Army veteran, did 6 years. I went to Afghanistan once. Also was an LPN, and now I'm on the admin side of the healthcare system. So that's basically my rundown of my background. So if you guys have any questions for me pertaining to the VA medical side, I'll answer your questions. Okay, no questions?
How long were you in Afghanistan?
I was in Afghanistan for 3 months before I got sent back home being sick.
Oh, boy.
But I got all my limbs and I'm good.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
So we've both been mobilized. I was
Yes.
mobilized after 9/11, and
I was in 2 rapid deployment units, but only got deployed once, which thank God for that.
Boy.
Yeah, basically for the healthcare benefits are, as what Bonnie was saying, for any veteran who, you don't have to, like she said, there's veterans who don't identify themselves as veterans because they really think they're not a veteran because they didn't go to combat. You can just totally nix that. You are a veteran if you put a uniform on. You are in peacetime, wartime, and served over 2 years. According to the VA, for health benefits, you are considered a veteran. For non-medical benefits, if you meet certain requirements in the admin side, as Bonnie was saying, in the VBA, there are still benefits available for you. I also brought some federal benefit books that will explain all the benefits available for veterans. It's also good to educate the public because there's so much information out there that veterans aren't even aware is out there for them. If you want to enroll in the VA, I can answer your questions on how to do that, what's available, what benefits are available. Does anybody have questions pertaining? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know what healthcare services are available on the Manchester campus of the VA.
Well, since we're a medical center, we're a full-service medical center. The only thing is we are not an in-house hospital. We do have same-day surgery. However, if those veterans need care, extensive care, we will transport them to our contract hospital, which is Concord, or to Jamaica Plains and West Roxbury for care. But other than that, we have dental for veterans who meet that requirement. There's eyes, ears, every service available. But there's certain veterans who are available for dental, and that's a very small group of veterans. You have to have a service connection disability of 100%, or a service connection disability related to your mouth, teeth, or jaw.
And there's a women's health.
There's also women's health. You have another question?
Well, just maybe expand a little more. I think I missed something. There's a women's health clinic?
We have a women's health clinic for women veterans.
Okay.
We also have for like the caregiver support or aid and assistance. Those veterans who have aid and assistance or caregiver support, those people that are not veterans, for an example, a veteran may have a caregiver. They will be eligible for certain services in the VA, like primary care and mental health.
Not being a relative?
No, if you are a caregiver, you are, you're eligible, like a veteran has a caregiver, they have a traumatic injury, or they can't do daily activities for themselves. So they have somebody that is assigned to them through the caregiver support program, makes them eligible for service in the VA for benefits. Okay? And again, that kind of goes with the aid and assistance. Again, there's veterans who are very low income, and there's veterans that need someone to help them with their daily living. So that person that they chose to be their advocate for their aid and assistance is also available for benefits with primary care and mental health only. If it's a woman caregiver, that's a caregiver support for the veteran, they're also eligible for women's health in the hospital.
And hospice?
We do have hospice.
Yeah, there's
We
a-
do have health care. Polly Bernard is the hospice social worker at the VA Medical Center. We have a CLC unit which has a palliative care on it. We're no longer a nursing home. However, we do respite care, we do palliative care, and we do short-term rehab. If a veteran is out in
Talk more about that.
right. If a veteran is, say they fall and they go to CMC Hospital and they need rehab, they go to rehab. After so many days, rehab in a private sector may not take them. And then they'll get on a list or try to get into our rehab center where we'll pick up the bill in-house. So we do have rehab, and if our facility is overpacked for a veteran that needs rehab, we have a lot of contracts with private sectors in the facility that will sponsor rehab for veterans that are not able to come into our facility.
And keep in mind that when accessing service at the VA, there's really 3 parts to it. You need to be, there's a service piece, okay? There is a service piece that you served in the military. Then there's the needs piece. There's also a financial, okay? There's a financial need piece. And then there's also a physical needs piece. So there's that litmus test of 3 things, okay? That's right. Because there's different priority groups, and that goes through in the
have 8 priority groups.
8 priority groups. Now, I served with, like I said, 22 years, okay? But I do not qualify for care at the VA. That's okay, you know? It's, but I don't have, I have the service piece, but I don't have the financial need or the physical need. Now that may change, those priority groups change. And I hear, a lot of my clients, because I work with a lot of elderly, will say, oh, I tried to enroll, down in Florida 6 years ago and they told me no. Well, your needs change, and those priority groups periodically change as well. So don't just assume that if you're not eligible at one time, you're not going to be eligible at a different time. Does that make sense? Does that make any sense whatsoever? I'm so glad. But it's, there's the other piece is always, it's very important to get enrolled. Even if you don't believe that you're eligible for anything, I still want to enrolled. Okay, they have me on the books, because the more veterans that they know that may need service eventually, then the more those numbers help with the do you know what I'm talking about? It's all with the funding for the VA.
It's called Bureau. I believe it's called Bureau.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if we, if the number of veterans truly, if they enroll at the VA, even though they're may not be eligible for service now, there's still count in the numbers that may potentially
Get the service here in New Hampshire.
Right. So it's going to help with our overall funding for not only now but for the future. So it's always important to enroll. Sure, absolutely. Because this is your. I just jumped in.
What I do with her, just going on to what she says, what I do sometimes with veterans, if I see that they don't meet our requirements, I won't turn them away. I'll still get their profile in our system. So like she said, if their situation changes, all they really need to do is just one portion of the application process instead of the whole process over, because the application process is really a long process. So that way, instead of saying, sorry, you're not eligible and turn you away, I will actually put them in the system. Whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later, they come back, their information's there. You're just adding.
Like my dad is in Florida, and he's enrolled in Florida. He doesn't have to re-enroll up here.
No, it's transfer state to state. It's transfer.
Now, I heard about something called the aid and attendant benefit.
Aid and assistance? Aid and assistance?
Well, I
Aid
think
and attendance. It's a pension benefit. It's an enhanced pension benefit. If the veteran is receiving a pension or eligible for a pension, then they or their spouse may be eligible for the aid and attendance. It's the aid and attendance. I am not.
I know you
I am
start
not
the
an-
enrollment
I am
at the
not-
VBA.
You do.
You
Okay.
s-
I'm not an expert on the aid and attendance. It's a very complicated program. What I will tell you about the aid and attendance, okay, is that there's the New Hampshire Office of Veteran Services or the New Hampshire Disabled American Veterans Office. Both of those are in the Norris Cotton Federal Building in Manchester. Or the Veterans Benefits Administration will help you apply for the aid and attendance. It's incredibly important that you do not try to do it on your own, because if one thing is wrong, they can kick it back, and there is a long waiting period because we have a lot of veterans that are applying at this time, okay? So there's the waiting list may be very long. So when you get that application in the, in the decision maker's hand, it needs to be right the first time. If anybody says that they will help you fill that out for a fee, okay, please do not do that, because it is illegal to assist a veteran in submitting a claim and charging a fee for it. Okay, that is illegal. But the New Hampshire State Office of Veteran Services, that is their sole purpose in life, is to make sure New Hampshire veterans are receiving the benefits that they are eligible for and deserve. They are just one of the what we call claims agents, the veteran service officers that are legally allowed to help you submit a claim for a pension. Right, the DAV, that's like the Disabled American Veterans, they're a registered claim agent, they're a registered veteran service officer, so they are allowed, and they will do this all for free. They will help you do that. Jamie Tessier, who is our veteran service officer through the New Hampshire Office of State Veterans, the Office of Veteran Services, she has office hours the first 4 Wednesdays of the month, right down at the Service Link office, right off 111 in Atkinson, okay? And it's so much easier to go down there than it is to the Norris Cotton Federal Building, because they're doing all that road construction right there, so it's very difficult to get in. Parking is horrendous. So call her and make an appointment for Wednesday, and go down to the Service Link office in Atkinson.
What's her last name?
Tessier, Tessier. And she's wonderful and very approachable and just really willing to help our veterans and their families in this area.
But I'm still not sure what is the aid and attendance, what
The
is
aid and
benefit,
attendance are two things.
They call it the aid and attendance benefit. It's they could be qualified for up to about $1,000 a month or $1,200 a month
Okay.
for an increased pension benefit.
And is that something to use for assisted living or?
In-house, I believe it's in-house, right?
It's actually, you can use it for any part of helping with the daily activities of daily living, okay? So remember when I said there's a service piece, a financial piece, and a physical piece? Okay, so that does have to be wartime service, okay? And then the needs piece is there's definitely a financial threshold. And for the veteran, it's a one threshold. For a surviving spouse, it's a little bit higher for the surviving spouse. And then the physical piece, they have to require assistance with at least one activity of daily living, which is bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring, or feeding.
So they have to have, getting a pension. And this
It is an enhanced pension benefit. They have to be qualified to receive a pension.
Probably financial.
It's basically almost the same requirements for the VA health benefits, but if you're going to initiate the aid and attendance, like you're saying, you need to start with the VA, with the regional office on Chestnut Street. However, for an example, you could be the aid and attendance person for your father, and you could reap benefits off of him through the VA, like I was saying, for primary care and mental health. That again goes to the caregiver support. If the veteran is not in a wartime, because there's two pieces to the caregiver support. You can be a combat veteran, or you can be a veteran that just served any military time with no veteran. But if your needs are like really bad, like you have Alzheimer's or some kind of something just holding you back, you can be part of the caregiver support for that veteran and still reap benefits through the VA Medical Center.
So he might have health issues. He doesn't have Alzheimer's, doesn't have disabled. So
does he need any assistance with bathing, any of those activities? Yeah. Then at this time, right, exactly. So he might, but the aid and attendance is, it's great because if they do qualify, any of the costs associated with your care are covered, like home care is one of those covered things. Medicine, anything that helps that veteran or the surviving spouse stay at home. But again, you have to remember it's that service piece, the financial piece, and the physical piece. So,
and just one more thing, if the person is a caregiver support recipient or aid and assistance, and they do bring that veteran to the VA Medical Center, they're also eligible for travel reimbursement at the time of the appointment.
Wow.
Does the VA have anything as far as assisted living?
We do have a nursing home, we have a couple nursing home social workers. There's Jackie Dion, Barbara Pines, and Paul Redmond. We do, like I said, we're not a nursing home anymore, but we do have a lot of contracts with outside facilities that if the veteran's enrolled in the VA and they're already approved for that particular facility, the VA will pay their portion of it. However, there is a daily cost, a monthly cost, but it all, again, goes off of your priorities where your financial status falls.
Right, but that's a nursing home is different than assisted living.
Well,
Assisted living is not.
again, Jackie Dion could answer that question, because I do believe we do have contracts with facilities like that, as well as nursing homes and rehab centers.
So who would I ask?
Her name is Jackie Dion, D-I-O-N. She's a geriatric social worker, so she would know how to help you on answering that question. That's who I would leave you to, is Jackie Dion. Now, if it was for nursing home, you would want Barbara Pines.
and a lot of people have heard of like the Veterans Home up in Tilton and Boscawen. Keep in mind, those are state run. That's, you know, it's that the Veterans Home in Tilton, that's the New Hampshire State Veterans Home, okay? And the cemetery at Boscawen, that's also state run, that it does not come under the VA. So there's the federal tier, and then there's the state office. Like the New Hampshire State Office of Veteran Services, that's state run.
And where is that and how do they work together?
They're all of those are at, that's also at the North Cotton Federal Building, the New Hampshire State Office of Veteran Services. I know it's all clear as mud.
I know it sounds confusing, but as you go through the system and you do it, it all will make sense to you as you progress through it. It all makes sense.
And those, for those of you who have internet access, www.va.gov, and then you can search on the state, and there's a lot of information on that. And the VA Medical also has a wonderful website that that has a calendar of events, of things that are happening for VAs. They're at the VA for our veterans. There's a vet-to-vet program. There's all sorts of different activities that you can access as a veteran, even though you may not be, you know, a website. So it's there's so much. That's why this was going to, you know, this is an overview type of thing. We will definitely be happy to answer specific questions if we can, but at least we can help direct you to the right people to ask.
Any questions for me?
What is the website for the medical center?
I don't really know what, but I'll hand. But if you go to any Google search engine and you put VA Medical Center Manchester, it'll populate the website.
Yeah. I have a few of these. It's your personal guide to the Manchester VA Medical Center. I don't have enough for all, but I will give you one of those. That's a great little tool, because I think that will be very helpful for you with your and this lady here, for the marker,
Yep.
I would definitely contact
Funeral home.
not the funeral home, because they wouldn't, but
The BBA? I was looking for the website.
Oh.
Let's see if it's in here for the marker. For burial benefits, you may want to inquire at the regional office, which is in Chestnut Street. They do burial and survivor benefits, so they can answer questions for you there as well pertaining to that. Yes, sir. Yes.
I belong to the veterans in Manchester, and I was in Fort Myers, Florida, this is about 2 years ago. And I went down there, I had a problem with my eyes. And I said, no, they didn't even talk to me when they in because I didn't belong to that.
Well, the reason behind that is for one, even though the VA is nationwide, you're only assigned one doctor at a time. So if you went from state to state and you didn't transfer to Florida, they're not going to see you until you transfer your information to that facility, because they want to make sure the doctors up here, information is transferred down there. Because if you just walk in and say, I need my eye examined, and you're not in their profile, they're not going to see you. And it's not that they're going to reject you, because you're already established in another VA throughout the 50 states.
Yeah.
But you can keep transferring back.
You can, but what I would suggest veterans that do that, because a lot of veterans like to travel.
Snowbirds.
Snowbirds, right? Yeah. It is true. So what I always like to tell people, just to save time instead of waiting until an urgent situation, when you get to that facility, go to eligibility right away and put your information in, because that way, if you need to be seen right away or you want to get prescriptions, you don't have to go through that process to wait longer to get those services done. Just get it done when you get there.
Well, the VA brochure says you are accepted in any VA in the United States.
Right.
You are accepted into the VA. And I automatically took it that we would take you right away if you had an emergency, even if they don't have your profile.
That's yes and no. That's yes and no.
No, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No.
But you told me what to do. Now I know
Like
what
I
to
just
do
told this
if it
particular-
happens to me.
Like-
I know it's easier to go from there. You just told me.
Like I just told this gentleman here, the safest bet is if you go from VA to VA and you didn't, say you go from New Hampshire to South Carolina and you've never been in their system, and if you go to their urgent care, their emergency room for services, and you're not in that profile, they're not going to see you. However, if it's an emergency situation, they're probably going to stabilize you till they can get you loaded in that system. But it's always best to go to the eligibility enrollment office at any VA that you're going to be at for a period of time to be established, so you don't have those situations. Go to eligibility first. Okay? But if you are already established in Florida and New Hampshire, like we have to go back and forth, you don't have to really worry about that and say, okay, well, I'm in Florida now for 6 months. They'll just put your name and last four in and populate your information. You're good.
Right. And it's always good to remember what kind of identification should they take?
If you have the VA ID card, you need to take that. However, we do have a new photo ID card for those veterans who don't have a photo ID, which we now require 2 forms of IDs, like a social security card, passport, driver's license, birth certificate, any 2 forms before we can establish you a new ID card. If you have an ID card and you lost it, you still have to provide those 2 forms of ID. If you had an ID card and there's nothing wrong with it, because of the way our system is right now, we're not going to issue a card until you lose that card or it's stolen. If you have an ID card and you're just a regular veteran and your status went from non-service veteran to service connection, you still have to provide 2 forms of ID with us, and we'll reissue you a new card. Okay?
Now, if somebody wasn't enrolled yet at all, what kind of documentation should they bring?
If somebody's enrolling for the very first time, they want to bring their financial information for the year prior. However, we do have a department that does match your income tax, so it's very important that you be very accurate with your income. 2, you need to bring a copy of your discharge form or your DD-214. And basically, that's it.
And your photo IDs.
Your photo IDs, yes. I've already said that, yes. And come see me. Now we'll take care of you. I see a few faces, like your face looks familiar.
Is there a girl that worked in your department named Allison?
No. It's myself, Ellie, and Tim.
There's 2 people that I used to work with. I used to work for an occupational health clinic on Southern Hampshire Medical Center.
Okay.
And one of our PAs went to work with the VA. And one of our front desk appointment secretaries went there. I thought she was working, and she said medical records.
She may be, because our medical records is in another building. It's not in the main hospital.
It's a huge building.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of construction going on right now. So just be aware that parking is not optimal.
What's going on with that? What was going that way at 9/11? And no one seen, I gotta go into one of the buildings downtown to do it. It's, like 20 feet over the offices. This building got by the top now. And when you're trying to,
Where my office is?
yeah, I don't know if I have the right building.
When you come into the VA Medical Center, when you come into the main lobby, there's going to be an elevator. My office is right across from the elevator. I'm in the business office.
This is the VA Medical Center up on the hill where it has the water tower?
No, I go to that one,
Oh, okay.
but she's talking about downtown.
No.
No, the one she works at the VA Medical Center, where you go.
You're actually.
Yeah,
Those
I've seen you a few times.
talking downtown.
No, she
When I
was.
was mentioning the Norris Cotton Federal Building, that some of those, like the Disabled American Veterans and the New Hampshire State Office of Veteran Services, that's in the Norris Cotton Federal Building. Do you know where Veterans Memorial Park is? Right on Elm Street, right across from the Radisson Hotel.
No, I know what I'm.
It's right down, okay. Do you know where George's Apparel is? A lot of people know
Yeah.
where George's.
Yeah.
Is
George,
George-
okay. Well, George's Apparel, there's a park right across the street, across the side street.
Okay.
Okay, that's Veterans Memorial Park. Now, right behind Veterans Memorial Park is the Hillsborough County Courthouse, and that's been under construction. Right behind that on Chestnut Street is the Norris Cotton
I
Federal.
think that's where we go.
Yeah, it's an ugly white building. It's just, it's hideous. Hideous. That architect should have just been
Fired.
fired. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But it's easy to.
My brother was in the service, and he can't find that for being that paper. And some building out west had a fire and burned all the records, and they don't have a copy.
That's the National Archives. There was
We
a.
have
there
the
was a-
information on how you can request a DD 214. Does your brother live in the state?
They're losing them.
Okay, if he's not computer literate, like what most people aren't computer savvy, he can come down to our office. We can help request a DD 214, print out the form, you can sign it, and I can fax it over to the archive center.
Does he need it on the discount?
It has to either be general or honorable to be eligible for health benefits in the VA hospital.
It can't be dishonorable.
It can't be dishonorable. It has to be general or honorable.
We don't.
But
Right,
that's the
yeah,
only
he's
one
been
that's.
trying to do that,
Well,
and
come, bring him down to come see me.
I will.
Yeah.
You want me to give you one of my
Yeah, there
business
was a-
cards?
Yeah.
But he's right, there was a fire at the National Archives, but they do have a way to recreate that.
He tried that.
It takes a long time. I won't say it's easy, but we'll help you, they can help. Is there any question did we answer your questions?
Well, I'm going to read your literature, and
I will, one of these caveats, the folder, the blue folder that I gave you, that blue folder on the caregivers. Some of those folders, I've been carrying around for a while. Some of the numbers, there's a list of veteran resources in here. The community resources list for veterans. The numbers and the organizations are fine, but if there is a name, like a contact name, that might be dated, okay? But I don't like to just throw things away when, so, and there's just on this other part, there's just some fun things that you may find interesting. I should have brought water. I'm getting all caught.
I'm going to say thank you to Bonnie and Carrie for really
Did we answer
sharing.
everybody's questions?
Well, would you stay on for maybe another 10 minutes if people want to talk with you privately
Absolutely.
or whatever? But again, you covered a very complex topic.
It is,
It
and there's
is.
no easy way to explain it all because it's just truly a government bureaucracy.
Well, you did a great job, so please join me in a round of applause for Bonnie and Carrie. Thank you.